Guru, are there any other countries with a rich history written like India about the past?
Those countries which had a long and rich history, those cultures, whether you take the Norse or the Egyptian, Mesopotamian, the Incas, the Mayans, most of these cultures have gotten grounded. They are not living cultures anymore, they are only archival cultures. So if you look at it in that context, the only ancient culture which is still a living culture is India alone. So it's very important that we preserve this, otherwise we will also become archival. All the other great cultures are today only there in the archive, or they live only in the museum. They are not living cultures anymore. This is the only one. We must preserve the multi-dimensional nature of this culture. It's very, very important. I happen to be in a peace conference. This peace conference, all kinds of people, top spiritual leaders, very heavily people who are bent with awards, you know. People… Nobody gets an award just like that, that's very rare. All others lobby for awards. Very rarely some extraordinary talent gets award simply like that. Somebody calls him and gives him an award, that is just a few people. Rest of them lobby for it, and every year they will get an award, and they're heavy with awards. All those medals, difficult to carry. So, I'm saying an assembly of hugely respected people in the country and in the world, an assembly of people like that. And we're talking about world peace. This is conducted in an ashram where the leader of that ashram is over 92 years of age at that time. And it was his dream to conduct a world peace summit. So when they came and told me he's 92 and it's been his dream and this is the event happening, you must come, I went. At one time I believed these peace conferences would do something, and I went to many. No more, I'm not going to any of the peace conferences. I'm going to all economic conferences because I see they could do something. He had his disciples and devotees. They said, for his next birthday, we will give world peace as gift. I thought, okay. In the next 1 year, they're going to offer a peaceful world to him as a gift. I appreciate their emotion. As devotees, as disciples, they feel they want to give it. I appreciate their emotion. I'm not against that. But I don't appreciate their simpleton way of approaching this. But I didn't say anything. Devotees say something like that, it's okay. A devotee is allowed a margin because he's not talking about the world, he's talking about himself, how he feels. It's okay, he feels that way. Lovers and devotees must be allowed a certain amount of margin, isn't it so? Otherwise there'll be no love or no devotion. So I'm willing to allow all the margin that you want. But when responsible people who are supposed to be working for that, they stand up and say ridiculous things, then it becomes difficult. So people stand up and say, these are… I don't want to name them, these are huge, with millions and millions of people behind them, okay? So, The simple logic is just this. There is no world peace because we are all worshipping different gods. If all of us worship one God, world will become peaceful. All of them talking in this, I'm just thinking, am I missing something? You know, am I really missing something? In any situation, if I step into, if something is wrong, first thing I do is, have I lost it? You know, am I making something wrong? First I clear this, and once I've cleared this, there's no stopping me. So then my turn to speak came and I said, forget about one God. People who are born to the same parents within the family, more battles are going on than India and Pakistan. India, Pakistan, we have fought only 3 battles in 64 years, it's a phenomenal record. Record of amity and peace, I'm saying. Only 3 battles in 64 years. In 64 years, between brothers and sisters and husbands and wives, how many battles happen? In 64 years of life. They don't shoot, of course, but uglier things happen than shooting, no? So just because they're born to the same parents, is there going to be peace? Just because all of you worship same God, is there going to be peace? People will find some other reason to fight. And people who are professing one God, they're the people who are fighting like hell. I said, the idea of having 1,000,000 gods is, we have 33 million gods and goddesses in this country, and that happened when our population was 33 million. After that, because people from outside came and started making fun of all your gods, oh, you're worshipping cows, you're worshipping trees, you're worshipping snakes, you don't know what you're doing. And here there was nobody to tell them why it is so. People got little embarrassed about it and stopped creating gods. See, I created 2, have you created any? If every one of you had your own god, at least you couldn't fight for him. If 100 people gather behind one god, then they're a fighting force. If each individual… this is the culture. Here you're supposed to have a Ishta Devata, a god of your choice. If you don't like any of the existing forms, you can create one. This will definitely ensure that you're peaceful. Because you got your god, he's got his god, what are you going to fight with? If this party belongs to one god, this party belongs to one god, how long will you avoid fighting? One day they will fight, isn't it? You can keep them away, you can manage them, you can police them, someday it will burst out. You can't help it. Either you must be a fake. If you don't fight, you're a fake. You believe this is God, and if they're saying that is God, how to keep quiet? You are just a fake. If you believe this is the only God, and those people are saying, no, that is also God, should you teach them a lesson or not? If you don't teach them a lesson, you are a fake. If you teach them a lesson, there'll be a war. Yes or no? Now you can create your own God. What is the problem? You like the book that you're reading. Have you seen? Mahabharat. You're going to an examination, you keep the pen and today he's your God. You want to sing a song, you better worship your microphone. The reason that we need to preserve this culture, it is one of the most valuable things on the planet right now, because this is the only culture which is not God-oriented. This is the only culture which is liberation-oriented. Anything that came from this land is not God-oriented, not heaven-oriented, it is towards your mukti. Liberation is the highest goal, God is not the highest goal. God is just a stepping stone. If you want, you can step on Him. If you can skip Him and go. It's up to you. How you are made, accordingly you do it. If you're capable of skipping and reaching your liberation, do it. If you want to do a hop skip, you are that kind of athlete, a long jumper or what's that, decathlon. So you can jump over and get there, fine. If you cannot, you want to go step by step, you climb. And we can create any kind of God you need. When you're a little child, we can create a God that you need as a child. When you become adolescent, we can create another God. You become middle age, we have another God. For old age, we have another God. For every emotion that you have, every thought that you have, we have a God or a goddess for you. If you want to make use of this phenomenal array of gods and goddesses, is it all made up? It's not just made up. We know the technology of God-making. It will function as divinity in your life. It is not just belief system. It is not belief system. It will function as living divinity in your life, because here we are not looking at worshipping God, we are always looking at how to become one. This culture is not about looking up to God, this culture is seeing how you want to become and live as a divinity. People raise to a level where they refer to as Bhagwan. That is the idea. Not always looking up to Bhagwan, you look up because you want to go up. You want to raise this piece of life to that dimension of existence where there is no distinction between who you are and what you refer to as divinity. So, the very nature of the culture is a scientific process. Unfortunately, we have not taken care of this science for the last 600, 700 years properly. It has become… it is not time relevant, the way it is expressed. The science is still time relevant, but the expression is not time relevant because there has been a gap of a few generations. They did not… if it was every generation, if it was being transmitted live, it would have been time relevant. But because of oppression, because of conquerors who came in and it went underground, lot of things which went underground never came up. Many people who went underground never came out again, they got buried right there. The reason why you see so much of a certain form of yogic practice in the name of Tibetan Buddhism today is because when invasions happened, the invaders mainly took the plains. The first thing that they did was burn the spiritual places. So they all went into the mountains. When they found the mountains too harsh for them to live, they crossed over and settled on the plateau, which you call as Tibet today. You just look at Tibetan Buddhism, where is Buddha in it? You have to search for Buddha. You will find all kinds of gods and goddesses with mispronounced names which are from here, full of ritual which came from this land, full of practices which came from this land, because this was established by people who left the plains and went into the mountains just to avoid the conquerors scorching them out. So it is very significant that we preserve this as a live thing. When I say preserve, it need not be protected, it needs to be lived. If you protect it, it will become archival. You have to live it. That's what we are trying to display to you. In the form of decor, in the form of food, in the way we do things here, we are trying to make the science of living as spiritual beings. Spirituality is not a teaching, it's the way you exist. For you to exist that way, you need to create the necessary ambience. Simple thing. I've been telling people right now, thousands of meditators have taken it up in Tamil Nadu. I want all of you to take this up. When you pick up the phone, what do you say? Hello? If you're speaking in English language, you say hello. If you're speaking in some other language, why don't you say namaste, namaskaram, something? What's your problem? Because when you say namaskar, it's a very profound statement. Hello doesn't have that, but you say it because somebody has taught you. I mean, we brought this, see, till the English got established. They came in almost 300 years ago, but they got established only in the last 150, leaving the 65 years, 150 years before independence. About 100 years ago, when were your holidays in a month? Do you know? In this country, the holidays were always 3 days, 1 day before Paurnami, 1 day after Paurnami and Paurnami. Amavasya days, Shivaratri days, Ekadashi days, these were the holidays, because it was spiritually relevant for us to do sadhana on those days. Now what are you doing on a Sunday? You don't know what the hell to do on a Sunday, so you're watching the television and eating potato chips throughout the day? I'm saying the whole culture was designed to assist your spiritual sadhana, but we don't have the courage to go back to that in the world outside. At least in your homes, you do that. At least in your homes, you do that. If you're running a business, you can do it. Every employee of yours will be very happy that they have a holiday when others don't have it. Yes, and instead of getting 4 days in a month, they get 3 days in a stretch on the Paurnami day, they will be happy, I'm telling you. If it's your own little business, you can do it, isn't it? Yes or no? If you have business which has to sync with the outside world, every day there's transaction, you can't do it. But in your home you can do it, isn't it? To whatever extent you can. At least you can say namaste to people. You know what this means? If you go into the temple, this is what you do. If God appears in front of you live, what will you do? This is what you will do. If this man or woman comes in front of you, what do? This is what you will do. If you see a beautiful mountain, what do? This is what you do. If you see a tree, what do? This is what you do. If you see a cow, what do? This is what you do. Not just that, even if you see inanimate objects, this is what you do. If Shiva appears also, this is what we do. If a laborer here, whose name may be Shiva or whatever else, to him also this is what we do. If a very knowledgeable person comes, this is what we do. If an idiot comes, this is what we do. What this means is, it doesn't matter who he is. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you're a man, woman or a rock, it doesn't matter to me. As far as I'm concerned, every moment of my life, I want to recognize that in every piece of creation, the hand of Creator is active. To that hand I bow down, bow down, bow down. Now you are setting up an ambience for your evolution. You are setting up an ambience for your evolution. Without the necessary ambience, you sit down in the morning and shake like this, you will not move very quickly, it'll take a long time. You need to set up the ambience. Even if I give you a super seed which can produce a tremendous kind of crop for you, if you keep it on the rock, it's not going to grow, isn't it? You have to prepare the soil. The necessary ambience for growth has to be there, otherwise it's not going to happen. So creating that necessary ambience for spiritual growth of a human being is what you see as culture here. It is distorted in many ways, but still the fundamental thread is not gone. If we lose the thread, there will be nothing of worth in this country. There'll be nothing of worth in this country if you lose that one spiritual thread, because that is the greatest thing we can offer to the world. The other parts of the world have done other kinds of achievements. In physical sciences, in technology, they've reached to many places. This can be the greatest fabulous exchange of people and knowledge base. We have the knowledge of the internal, they have done well with the external. Isn't this a perfect formula for everybody to live well in the world? Isn't it a perfect formula that two sets of people have two different dimensions of knowledge? If both of us see that we have need for each other, isn't this a perfect situation to live well? But people may choose to fight instead of living well. That is because if we do not create the necessary ambience for spiritual growth in the world, you teach as many damn practices as you want, you build as many damn temples as you want, people will not go very far. You have to create ambience of life where every moment there is a reminder, there is a reminder, there is a reminder. You must do this. In the mega classes, we're just trying to bring it now to the people. You must do this. Now you've been in Mahabharata, you understand, I believe you understand, the significance of grace or being in grace. It makes all the difference. If you want to be the necessary, if you want to have the necessary receptivity for grace, one simple thing that you do is, when you get up in the morning, the first thing that you do is, you do what Krishna did. It worked for him. What did you do? Sadhguru, nobody, in my house, they're like… Especially if your house is full of idiots, it's all the more reason that you smile. That if your house is full of problems, at least you be a solution, isn't it? Yes or no? If your house is full of problematic people, isn't it very important that you function as a solution? No, you also want to be a bigger problem? So, it's okay. I'm not saying smile at somebody, smile at the ceiling. At least it didn't fall on you in the night. Don't think it's a joke, it can fall on you. Small changes in the way the earth functions, the house that is protecting you could become your grave. Isn't it happening to thousands of people somewhere else? Isn't it happening? The very house that you live in can turn into your grave if Mother Earth just does… She's going carefully. If she just does a little twist, your house will become your grave. Yes or no? So tomorrow morning, your house is still a home. Isn't it enough occasion to smile at least, if not jump up and dance? Isn't it enough occasion at least to smile? Let me see some. Smile. And suppose there is somebody around you, nobody around you, no problem. Absolutely no problem. If somebody around you, there's something to manage. Nobody around you, nothing to manage. The liberty of it, the freedom of it, nothing to manage. Wake up in the morning, nobody is there to think you've gone crazy. I'm saying set the ambience for your growth. If you do not set the ambience of joy and reverence within you, reverence does not mean towards something, towards somebody, it's a way to be. It's a certain way to be. Reverence means you are in a receptive mode because you understand life happens best with grace. You are constantly in a receptive mode. You don't want to give somebody a piece of your mind, you want to take in the intelligence of creation into you. You're planning many times, today I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Don't give the piece of your mind. If you keep giving away, what will you be left with? You'll be left with nothing. 18th February 2012, 10 o'clock. For the first time it's happening, 84th Yuga. Wow! We are the first people to witness it. Something wrong with 11 o'clock? So why don't we do it at 11 o'clock too? Do this, I'm telling you, every hour. Every moment you should do it. but to start with at least every hour in your waking moments, 10 o'clock. You're still living. From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, do you know how many people, thousands died in this world? You and me are still living, isn't it fabulous? And the most amazing thing is human beings exist here as if they're going to live forever. No, between 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, many more thousands of people are going to die. If we are still living till 11, wow! Isn't it fantastic? Please appreciate this. That is this culture. This culture constantly creating an ambience for your growth. This is not a belief system. We don't have a God. We can make whatever kind of God we want. We have understood the technology of God-making. We not only just create a form and believe in it, we energize it. We are not looking up, we are looking inward. This culture has to spread across the world, otherwise the modern technology which has made a man into a superman is going to destroy the world. If idiots become super, they become super idiots, you must understand this. If arrogant people become super, they become super arrogant. If hateful people become super, they become super hateful, isn't it? The modern technology is empowering people indiscriminately. It is time. It is time. We've moved into the right yuga. We are into the right yuga right now, that this is an ascending time for human consciousness. But, oh, human consciousness is going to go up. Nothing goes up or down unless you work for it. If you're willing to work for the world's consciousness to go up, there are many things I can give you. I have lots of employment. Only thing is I don't pay you, that's all. I have a lot of positions vacant, anybody wants to take… You want to be the CEO of spreading consciousness in the world, I'll make you that. Only thing is, I'll see that you're fed, I see that you're treated well wherever you go, I see that you're welcomed and embraced by people. But we don't put you through the indignity of standing in front of me to collect money. I don't want to put you to shame that you're such a beggar, you did what you care for just for the sake of money. That does not mean you will not eat well, that does not mean you will not live well. You will. In the embrace and love of millions of people, it's better to live that way than live on the security of every 30 days you get a packet. Or at least be focused on one person's consciousness rising. If you can't take the world, if you can't even take the segment of the world, at least take up yourself. That much you owe to yourself, isn't it? You should not deny yourself that. So these 8 days has essentially been an exploration to make you see the significance of grace in one's life. If grace is not available to you, or you are not available to grace, it does not matter how much money you have, how much wealth you have, whatever nonsense you have, you will not live a beautiful life. This is not my curse. I will never curse you, and I have taken away the power to curse from you. But this is the way life works, this is the dharma, this is the law of life. If you go by it, life will be a beautiful flowering. If you don't go by it, you will unnecessarily struggle with forces which are way beyond, because they are the forces of creation. You cannot fight them, you can only ride them. It's like surfing. You ride the wave, if you try to fight it, it'll smother you. This is simple sense. This is not some kind of philosophy. This is simple sense. If you want to go on the ocean, you ride the wave, you don't fight the wave. And what we are talking about is not an ocean, we are talking about creation, we are talking about cosmos, we are talking about cosmic forces where an ocean is like a drop of water. An ocean is just a drop of water in the cosmic space. In this, you learn to ride the wave. Dharma is just that. How to ride the wave, how not to be smothered by the wave.